when life begins to feel like a storm and everything seems to spin out of control, that is the moment you must rise from the inside and declare, I will take control. Not because circumstances are perfect, not because everything around you agrees with your plan, but because you have been given the power to choose your response, your focus, and your direction. Life does not hand control to those who complain, it hands control to those who decide. You cannot command the waves, but you can command your ship. You cannot stop the rain, but you can choose how to walk through it. The strength to take control is not found in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of your heart, where decisions are born and destinies are shaped. Every great transformation begins when a person takes control of their inner world, when your emotions try to drag you down, when fear whispers that you can't. That is the very place you must stand tall. You must speak to your heart and say, be still, I am in charge of you. The mind that is disciplined will always overcome the chaos of the moment. Your thoughts are like a steering wheel. Wherever you turn them, your life will follow. If you constantly focus on what's wrong, you will drift deeper into frustration. But when you focus on what is possible, doors begin to open that you didn't even see before. You are not helpless, you are not powerless. The greatest control begins when you learn to master yourself. When storms of discouragement rise, when the path looks uncertain, take control of your vision. Stop looking at the mountain, start looking at the summit. Stop counting the obstacles, start counting your strengths. Inside every difficulty lies a seed of opportunity, waiting for you to command it to grow. The moment you shift your focus from what's happening to what's possible, the atmosphere around you begins to change. You are not meant to be a victim of your circumstances, but a victor over them. Your thoughts are the foundation, your words are the structure, and your actions are the roof that protects your destiny. Take control of your imagination, because what you imagine today will shape what you live tomorrow. There will be moments when fear tries to paralyze you, when doubt says, you can't handle this. But courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward in spite of it. Take control of your choices, even when emotions are heavy. You may not be able to control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. You may not be able to control what doors close, but you can control your faith in the next open one. Every time you choose peace over panic, gratitude over bitterness, hope over despair, you are taking back control of your life. The power to rise is already within you. It's not somewhere out there. It's waiting for your command, your decision, your belief. Do not wait for the perfect moment to begin. Take control of the moment and make it perfect. Every day you have a choice to let life happen to you or to make life happen through you. The world may say you're not strong enough, not wise enough, not capable enough, but you are not defined by the world's opinion. You are defined by the vision burning inside you. You must guard that vision fiercely. Speak words that lift you higher. Think thoughts that align with your purpose. Act with discipline even when it's hard, because control is not about power over others. It's about power over yourself. When you take control of your inner world, your outer world will begin to obey. True control begins with mastering your thoughts, not your circumstances. The greatest battles of life are not fought in the world around you, but in the quiet corners of your mind. Every fear, every limitation, every hesitation begins as a thought. If your thoughts are scattered, your life will be scattered. If your thoughts are defeated, your path will reflect defeat. But when your thoughts are disciplined, strong, and anchored in faith, no storm can shake your foundation. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. If you plant doubt, you will harvest delay. If you plant fear, you will reap hesitation. But if you plant courage, gratitude, and vision, you will produce a harvest of strength that no circumstance can destroy. Control is never about manipulating what happens outside of you. It's about mastering what happens inside of you. When you learn to take charge of your thoughts, you begin to rise above the noise of your environment. Circumstances may change, people may disappoint you, situations may seem unfair, but your power lies in your ability to choose your response. A disciplined mind doesn't bend to negativity. It transforms it into growth. When others see a setback, a controlled mind sees a setup for something greater. The difference between those who remain stuck and those who move forward is not luck, but mental mastery. It's the ability to say, this situation may be tough, but it will not control how I think, feel, or act. That declaration turns confusion into clarity and pressure into purpose. Every time you redirect your thoughts from panic to peace, from worry to wisdom, you are exercising control that reshapes your destiny. You can't change the weather, but you can change your attitude toward it. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you interpret their actions. The world outside may be unpredictable, but the world inside can be steady if you train it to be. Your mind becomes the compass that guides your emotions, your decisions, and your focus. A person who has mastered their thoughts doesn't react to life, they respond to it with intention. They understand that thoughts become words, words become habits, and habits become destiny. That's why control begins in the unseen realm of the mind. If you can rule your thoughts, you can rule your day. If you can rule your day, you can rule your future. The inner dialogue you nurture determines the outer reality you live. When negative thoughts come, don't entertain them. Challenge them. Replace them. Speak truth where lies try to live. If your mind says, you can't, remind yourself, I can and I will. If it says, you're not enough, remind yourself that growth is a process, not a label. Every time you counter negativity with purpose, you build mental strength. A strong mind doesn't emerge overnight. It's shaped through discipline, through moments when you choose peace in chaos, belief in doubt, and focus in distraction. You take control by training your thoughts daily, just as an athlete trains their body. The more you practice mental control, the more natural it becomes to rise above emotional storms. The truth is, life will always test the strength of your inner world. Challenges will knock on your door, but they cannot enter unless you allow them through your thoughts. The moment you take control of your thinking, Fear loses its grip, and anxiety loses its voice. You become steady, grounded, and centered even in uncertainty. Your power is not found in avoiding problems, but in mastering your perspective toward them. The greatest freedom you will ever experience comes when your peace no longer depends on your surroundings, but flows from the stability of your thoughts. When you control your mind, you take command of your life, and that is where true control begins. You can't command the storm, but you can command your response to it. Life is filled with moments that come without warning. Unexpected losses, sudden changes, painful disappointments, and unanswered questions. You can't always stop these storms from coming, but you have the power to decide how you will respond when they do. The strength of a person is not proven in calm weather. It is revealed in the storm. When the winds of uncertainty blow and everything feels out of control, that is the moment to anchor yourself within. You may not be able to silence the thunder, but you can choose peace in the noise. You may not be able to stop the rain, but you can choose how you will walk through it. The power of your response determines whether you sink in fear or stand in faith. The storm is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Every challenge you face carries a lesson about patience, growth, and resilience. When you allow circumstances to dictate your emotions, you lose your power. But when you decide to rise above circumstances and respond with strength, you reclaim control. You can choose to complain, or you can choose to stay calm. You can choose to fear, or you can choose to trust. Your response is the dividing line between defeat and victory. There is always a choice, even when the situation feels impossible. The storm only has power over you if you give it power through your reaction. When you remain grounded, the storm eventually runs out of energy, but your faith remains standing. Storms reveal what is truly inside you. When everything is comfortable, it's easy to smile, to stay positive, to speak with hope. But when pressure comes, when the wind shakes your foundation, that's when your true strength is tested. Your reaction becomes a reflection of your inner condition. If your heart is filled with fear, fear will pour out. But if your heart is anchored in courage, courage will rise to the surface. Every time you choose calmness over chaos, patience over panic, wisdom over impulse, you grow stronger in your spirit. The storm doesn't change who you are, it exposes who you have become. That's why mastering your response is one of the highest forms of maturity. There will be moments when your emotions want to take over, when your thoughts scream louder than your peace. In those moments, you must pause and breathe before you speak or act. Stillness is not weakness, it is strength under control. The calm person in the storm is not blind to reality, they simply refuse to be ruled by it. The storm may roar, but they are rooted in something deeper than circumstances. Every time you choose peace, you weaken the grip of chaos. Every time you choose patience, you build endurance. Every time you choose gratitude in pain, you create growth in adversity. This is how you take command, not by controlling what happens, but by controlling how you interpret and respond to what happens. Storms also refine your vision. They clear away illusions and expose what truly matters. When you're caught in a storm, you stop chasing unnecessary things. You begin to see with clarity the difference between what is temporary and what is eternal. You realize that control is not about changing the weather, it's about changing your focus. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this teaching me?" That shift in mindset is where transformation begins. The storm may still rage, but it can no longer dominate your spirit. You become unshakable, not because the storm is gone, but because you have learned to respond with strength, with perspective, and with unwavering peace within. The direction of your focus determines the direction of your life. Whatever you choose to fix your eyes on becomes the compass of your destiny. Your focus has creative power. It shapes your emotions, your mindset, and eventually your reality. When you constantly dwell on problems, you multiply your sense of struggle. But when you train your focus toward possibilities, you awaken strength that has been sleeping inside you. The human mind was never meant to wander endlessly in worry and doubt. It was designed to see vision, to hold purpose, to create meaning. Life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts, and your dominant thoughts follow your focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Every person faces distractions that try to pull their focus away from what truly matters. The noise of the world, the opinions of others, and the constant pressure to compare can cloud your clarity. If you're not careful, you'll spend your energy chasing things that don't align with your purpose. That's why you must guard your focus as you would guard your treasure. The more you focus on what drains you, the weaker you feel. The more you focus on what strengthens you, the more powerful you become. You can't build a future while constantly staring at your past. You can't find peace while giving all your attention to chaos. The secret of stability lies in choosing your focus every single day. When you focus on fear, fear grows larger. When you focus on hope, hope expands. Whatever you magnify in your mind becomes the atmosphere of your life. A distracted person becomes divided within, unable to make progress, but a focused person moves forward with clarity and conviction. The power of focus is that it multiplies your results without increasing your effort. It brings alignment between your thoughts, words, and actions. Focus transforms confusion into direction and hesitation into momentum. You begin to walk with purpose instead of wandering with uncertainty. Your mind was created to aim, so give it a target that matters. There will be times when life tries to steal your focus with disappointment or delay. In those moments, you must deliberately pull your attention back to your vision. Don't allow setbacks to blind you to progress. Even small forward steps matter when your focus is steady. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to keep your eyes on the next right step. A clear focus acts like light in darkness. It reveals where to go and keeps you from stumbling. When your focus is scattered, your energy is wasted. But when your focus is unified, every thought, word, and action begins to move in harmony toward a single purpose. That is where real power begins to manifest. Focus is also an act of faith. It is the choice to believe that what you pursue with clarity and consistency will eventually come to pass. It means refusing to be distracted by temporary noise, by fear of failure, or by the weight of waiting. The focused mind keeps believing even when results are unseen. It refuses to give up halfway through the process. When you stay focused on your purpose long enough, life begins to align with your intention. You attract what you continually think about and move toward what you continually envision. The clearer your focus, the faster your progress. You must train your thoughts to look forward, to stay fixed on growth, and to ignore distractions that pull you back. The power to shape your future lies not in your surroundings but in your focus, because wherever you direct it, your life will follow. Taking control means choosing discipline over emotion and faith over fear. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. It is the strength to act according to purpose rather than impulse. Emotions can be unpredictable. One day they lift you up, the next day they pull you down. But discipline is steady. It is not ruled by how you feel in the moment, but by what you have decided to become. The difference between those who dream and those who accomplish lies in the daily choice to stay consistent, even when motivation fades. Discipline says, I will do what I must, not just what I feel like doing. It transforms weakness into strength, chaos into order, and hesitation into momentum. Without discipline, potential remains just potential. With it, you turn possibilities into reality. Life will always test your emotional balance. Odds, there will be days when frustration tries to take control, when disappointment whispers that it's easier to quit, when fear paints pictures of failure. Those are the moments when discipline must rise above emotion. Emotions tell you what is temporary, but discipline reminds you of what is eternal. Emotions can cloud your judgment, but discipline clears your vision. Taking control doesn't mean you ignore how you feel. It means you refuse to let feelings decide your future. Every act of discipline builds strength that cannot be shaken by changing moods or circumstances. The more you practice it, the more power you gain over yourself. Faith over fear is another choice that defines control. Fear always tries to predict disaster before it even arrives. It creates imaginary walls that keep you from moving forward. But faith looks at those same walls and says, there is a way through. Fear reacts to what it sees, but faith acts on what it believes. You may not see the outcome, but when you choose faith, you align yourself with growth instead of limitation. Faith doesn't remove challenges. It gives you the courage to walk through them with confidence. Every time you choose to trust instead of panic, you reclaim authority over your inner world. Fear may knock on your door, but it doesn't have to live in your house. Faith is the quiet strength that whispers, keep going, when everything else says stop. Discipline and faith work together like two strong wings that lift your life above mediocrity. Discipline keeps you moving in order, faith keeps you moving in hope. One governs your actions, the other guides your heart. Together they make you unstoppable. When you feel weak, discipline keeps you steady. When you feel uncertain, faith keeps you believing. Without discipline, faith has no structure. Without faith, discipline has no direction. The power of control lies in their unity. You begin to live not by reaction, but by design. You stop being a prisoner of temporary emotions and start becoming the architect of your own growth. Choosing discipline over emotion and faith over fear is not a one-time act, it is a daily decision. Every morning, you decide whether to be led by feelings or by focus. Some days will test your patience, others will test your courage, but control is built through consistency. You may fall short, but what matters is that you rise again with determination. You may face uncertainty, but faith will light your way forward. You may feel emotional storms inside, but discipline will keep you anchored. These two qualities shape a life of power and peace. They give you mastery over your choices, over your direction, and over your destiny. When you learn to discipline your emotions and feed your faith, nothing outside of you can control what happens within you. When you rule your inner world, your outer world begins to align. Everything around you is a reflection of what is happening within you. The thoughts you think, the emotions you nurture, and the beliefs you hold form the atmosphere of your life. Most people try to change their surroundings without first changing themselves, but true transformation always begins from the inside out. The moment you bring order, peace, and clarity within, life starts to respond to that harmony. Chaos outside loses its power when peace inside becomes stronger. You can't expect balance in your relationships, work, or goals if your mind and heart are in turmoil. When your inner world is stable, your outer world begins to take shape in that same stability. Your inner world is the control room of your destiny. It is where decisions are made, where emotions are processed, and where vision is born. When you are ruled by inner confusion, you make choices out of reaction rather than wisdom. But when you cultivate inner calm, you make decisions that align with purpose and direction. Ruling your inner world means setting boundaries for your thoughts and emotions. It means not allowing negativity to dominate your mind or letting fear dictate your future. You begin to recognize that peace is not something you wait for. It is something you create by mastering your inner dialogue. The world outside may not change overnight, but your perspective and response to it will begin to shift immediately once you take control from within. There will always be circumstances beyond your control, people you cannot change, and situations you cannot predict. But you can always control how you think, how you speak, and how you feel. That is where your real power lies. When anger rises, you have the authority to replace it with patience. When doubt creeps in, you can respond with belief. When worry tries to take over, you can choose trust. This is not pretending that problems don't exist. It is deciding that problems will not rule your emotions. Your outer reality will always mirror your inner focus. If you carry peace inside, peace will manifest around you. If you carry gratitude inside, abundance will begin to follow you. The secret is to live from the inside out rather than the outside in. To rule your inner world, you must feed it daily with thoughts that strengthen your soul. Just as your body needs nourishment, your spirit needs truth, hope, and encouragement. What you meditate on shapes who you become. If you fill your mind with fear, fear becomes your master. If you fill it with faith, Faith becomes your strength. It takes discipline to protect your inner environment from the noise of the world. But that discipline produces peace that cannot be shaken. When you learn to maintain calmness in the face of chaos, wisdom in the face of confusion, and love in the face of conflict, you rise above external control. The stronger your inner world becomes, the less control outer circumstances will have over you. Ruling your inner world doesn't mean life will be perfect. It means you will be stable in imperfection. You will stop being tossed by every wave of change and start walking with grounded confidence. You will notice how situations that once frustrated you no longer disturb your peace, how conflicts that once drained you no longer steal your joy. That is the reward of inner mastery. Your energy becomes focused, your vision becomes clear, and your words begin to carry power. The outer world starts to align with the inner order you've created, because peace attracts peace and clarity attracts direction. When you rule your thoughts, your emotions, and your responses, life begins to follow the rhythm of your inner calm. And that alignment brings strength, harmony, and lasting fulfillment.